The fall of Rooster Teeth. I've seen some stuff about Rooster Teeth recently. I'm curious to see what's going on with them.
If you're anything like me, you're two things. One, raised by the internet, and two, subscribe to Mogul Mail on YouTube. Thank you so much for doing that right
Got me. Yep.
now. Wow, amazing. Yeah, I didn't grow up without a dad for most of my childhood, so a lot of the people that I would watch growing up were kind of father figures in a way. And occasionally I like to indulge and go down memory lane. Take a nostalgia.
The red versus blue. Listen, as somebody that really liked Halo, I actually didn't like red versus blue because they never shot each other. Like, I liked watching Halo 2 montages with Nickelback and Stained in the background and just, like, fucking headshots happening on lockout. Like, I don't want to hear, like, a bunch of some fucking sitcom. Like, I'll just go watch The Office.
Blast trip through the creators that really raised me, including Mr. Phantasmo. Just to listen to the noises they made. Maybe 15 of you people actually know who this is.
What's up, my nuggets?
But if you did, that's a whole nostalgia blast that you just went through. And for a lot of you guys, that might be Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
All right? Rooster Teeth has been around for well over a decade, almost 2 decades.
Yeah, they're in
if
Austin,
not over
I'm pretty sure.
And
They
they've
used to
created
be.
a bunch of IP that you might know. Achievement Hunter, Funhouse, Slow-Mo Guys, Death Battle. They were an absolute mainstay in the gaming space.
Oh, they were a huge Rooster Teeth wasn't just a mainstay. They were an industry. Massive. Absolutely fucking massive. I watch Funhouse all the time. I'm gonna be honest, boys. Like, I never watch any of this fucking shit. I watched Rooster Teeth way back in the day. I'm talking about the 2000s. I never watched any of this other fucking internet fucking bullshit until I started making my own videos. Like, I was all about watching WoW videos and making my own videos.
But it hurts even harder when you look back and you see that the people that you were raised by or grew up with are up to no good. Which
I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think that that's in some cases healthy, because a lot of people have this notion that whenever they're, you know, they grow up, they romanticize people to a degree that a person cannot be a part of. Like, a person cannot ever rise to the ideal that an individual can create for them in their mind. And I think that it's good to sometimes see people that you think are great people, you know, get a little bit of a glimpse behind the curtain. Because I think that a lot of guys, I mean, this is the case, especially I'm sure like with girls too, is they'll see people with these perfectly manicured lives and they'll think, you know, wow, like I'm a loser. But it's like the old, this is like super cliche, but people say like, oh, well, you're comparing their A reel to your B reel. And it's like, that's effectively what's happening. And I don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing. I think growing up and seeing the flaws in the people that you used to look up to and being able to appreciate them for what they were, but not to think that the person themselves is some sort of infallible being, I think that's actually very healthy.
Is what came out over the past couple weeks with Rooster Teeth. Now, this is a bit of an old story, but I haven't seen many people talk about it.
I know, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, whenever I saw this, I wanted to watch this because like I saw some stuff about this on Twitter, but like I don't know exactly what's been going on. Maybe I do, and I just didn't put the two together.
So I thought I'd put it on all your radars. Rooster Teeth, outside of all of the original IP, Ruby, whatever it is, the content they've created, they've also created a terrible workplace culture.
What a surprise.
This all came out through a twitlonger from one of their former employees who goes by the name CatDany. Now, CatDany sent this whole twitlonger.
Oh, boy.
And she goes over extensively all the things that were bad. But the TLDR is gross enough. All right, when you're looking at the TLDR, and that alone makes you gasp, makes a jaw drop, you know they're up to no good.
Right.
You can read through a few of the lines here, but it includes such things as calling her Fugs because it was a nickname for the F slur. Things like overworking, underpaying, general terrible HR, and a whole cohort of worse.
I think a lot of people are going to go, and I know whenever some of these topics come up, you know, this is some person who is trans or there's some sort of like problem, and there's like a strain of discrimination in this case, it seems, people will try to throw out the whole case and not take it seriously because they don't really care that much about these words or something like that. I think that it's very important that we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater here. Even if you take all of the things that you could say were transphobia, the F slur, etc., you're still talking about unpaid contract work, bad work environment, etc. I think it's very important to keep that in mind. They're really old school. Yeah, I mean, this is like all the way back in 2013. Is this something to cancel Rooster Teeth over? I don't know. I mean, I probably don't think so. Maybe the people that work there changed. Maybe they're not working there anymore. I'm not going to really like lose any sleep over something that happened in 2013. However, you know, it seems like this is a multiple, in 2020 position, producer and director getting paid $40,000 a year. Next lowest paid person was $70K. This person seemingly has been being taken advantage of.
Things. Now, before I move on, I do have to mention this because this is going to be a lot of the counterpoints that will be made, is that CatDany was not herself the greatest victim, as many victims are. And said some slurs of her own, specifically.
This doesn't matter. Like, this, again, it's like, I don't know why people always go and do this. Like, yes, it's very true that, like, the slurs and shit like this, like, I feel like these are the sprinkles on the cupcake. Yeah, the sprinkles are important. We see the sprinkles. But there's also the whole fucking cupcake. People, like, are honing in on this because it's some sort of specific thing. It's not that big of a deal.
Said the N-word, and a clip came out of that.
Yeah, sure.
And although that is not a good thing, and that's not something I support at all, it doesn't it doesn't cancel out the terrible workplace that she was at. And if
there's a lot of nuances to these kinds of things. I'm not really going to, like, I'm not a big fan of going back through somebody's history. Like, I mean, you guys know me. I've said millions of horrible things for many years. Like, I never really deleted a lot of it either. Because I figure, fuck, I might as well, you know, this is who I was. I'm honest. This is me. This was me. And, you know, this is me now. I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't really care a lot about that. I care about what people are doing now. That's what really matters the most.
You don't believe me?
Yeah, a toxic workplace could have been a catalyst for behavior. I mean, or she could have just been saying something. Like, it's like the nuances of saying a word versus calling somebody a word versus calling somebody of the group that the word is being used to discriminate against that word itself. Like, all of these things are different shades of gray. I would say each one is consecutively slightly worse than the other.
Well, then look at all the people who backed her up.
Okay.
All right. I am about to show you about 20 different employees at Rooster Teeth.
Oh my God.
Who all dropped a twit longer. This is crazy. The amount of people who came out the woodwork. And the first one starts with Mika, who said that she didn't name drop it back in 2020. Saw the N-word written on a whiteboard.
Okay.
Crazy. Here's a twit longer from Autumn, who said that the HR swept a lot of the stuff under the rug. Here's a twit longer from Aaron. Which goes into it a little bit more. We got something from Andy saying, "You owe me so much money." Chad says, "I'm still employed, but I'm on CatDany's side because, you know, I got to pay the bills end of the day," which I respect.
Yeah,
Gabriel.
makes sense.
The list goes on, and I think Alana Pierce, who worked at Rooster Teeth for a bit, said it best. So
yeah,
I'll let
with
her
like
say her
Funhouse,
words.
right?
And
I'm pretty sure.
I don't feel like I've ever been shy about this. I've said so like multiple times repeatedly. Maybe just like I've never publicly associated the two, but it's very easy to do.
Okay.
I think I repeatedly said that 2018 was the worst year of my life. So bad, and it was because of working conditions at Rooster Teeth.
Ugh.
I fell apart. It was terrible. I've spoken about this publicly. I made a video on this channel about it, about how I literally developed eczema, a skin condition that I now deal with all the time because I was so stressed out and frazzled. And
I know somebody in real life that actually had this exact same thing happen with like developing this same skin condition through stress. So yeah, it fucking sucks. She developed on Ragnarok. Yeah. She works for I honestly don't even know who makes God of War. I don't know, PlayStation. She works for whoever makes fucking God of War.
just like overwhelmed and like in a terrible place.
Yeah.
If the workplace conditions are so bad that your employee develops eczema from stress, verified by a doctor,
This is probably not a good situation.
that's a major problem. Now, I'm
Yep.
not the greatest boss in the world. I'm not going to pretend I am. I have like over a dozen employees, and I will remind Slime every day that I see him and that we are both alive that he is bald, which, you know, maybe HR needs to worry about that, but this is just a whole new level.
Well, yeah, but you pay them though, right? And so that's kind of cool. And that's really what it comes down to, is that people are willing to put up with a lot of little bits of bullshit, but the moment that they don't get their paycheck, now the twitlongers are coming out. That's a fact.
And for it to have been swept under the rug for that long, with 419 employees,
Ooh, they need to hire one more person.
one away from greatness. Crazy. That's crazy. How do you have that many employees? And it's not until 2022 that we're all finding out about this. Now, maybe it was known from, you know, people behind the scenes, but at least this is when I found out about it. Rooster Teeth, of course, because of all the backlash, released a statement about a week ago.
I remember I fucking saw this statement, and like, this statement got ratioed in the original definition of a ratio, where it has more fucking comments than likes. That used to be what a ratio meant. That you got more comments than likes. And now, here we are. Yeah, the classic ratio.
Almost 10 days ago, that
That's not a
says,
good
as
one.
an almost 20-year-old company that started in the early stages of online videos and grew with internet culture, we made mistakes. All right, they were around before, you know, PC culture, before society decided, hey,
Oh, people say that shit all the time back in the day. Absolutely. Like, let's not pretend like that's not what happened. That's absolutely what happened. People say this shit constantly. I don't think Rooster Teeth is in any way, like, uniquely responsible for this. Sure, it's just bad whenever it's being said to employees. It's totally different. And they should also pay them.
you know, we won't say slurs unless we're in a league chat. That's okay. Not really addressing a lot of the things, and so a lot of people,
Yeah, who gives a fuck? Like, the slurs are like, yeah, it was bad that you said that. A lot of people said shit like that back then. Like, let's move on and talk about the real shit. Why weren't the people getting paid? Like, that's what really matters. Like, it's easy. It's very easy to apologize for saying the N-word 10 years ago. Oh, wow. How brave and fucking socially aware you are. How incredible. Yes, of course. But paying people, that's what fucking matters.
weren't super happy with that. All right, doesn't address the issues that were brought up, and you can't opine on how much internal work you've done when it's still an issue. So this is never a good look. But they had to drop.
What
a
did she
set
say?
when
Let me see.
it's-
You can't opine how much internal work you've done, how much your company has changed, or you can't bring yourself to include an apology to an employee you called a slur for years on end in your statement. I don't think, like, I feel like this is what happens whenever any company does a public statement, is like people always try to find holes in the statement and be like, but you didn't say this, but you didn't say that, which, to be fair, I kind of just did myself. But I think that, like, apologizing to her by name in the statements, was this something that they should have done? Maybe, maybe not, but I don't think that them not doing it means that they're bad people.
still an issue. So this is never a good look, but they had
Yeah.
to drop a second apology. And this one,
It's always good. Listen, whenever your first apology doesn't go over very well, the one thing to do, the best thing to do, is to apologize again. That'll get them every time. Yeah, they'll be like, oh, well, now we understand. Yeah, go again. You just fucking go and apologize again. Never fucking do that. Like, I was being sarcastic. Never fucking do that. Be like, listen, like, fucked up, that is what it is, right? If people don't want to take it, it is what it is.
I think a little more sincere talks about the changes, very concrete changes they're going to make so
We're
it doesn't
sorry.
happen in
Yeah.
the future. And they go through this thread. They say they took the upper management and are basically making a bunch of changes over the past week and presumably throughout the rest of the year to make sure that they have a better work.
I mean, this is kind of like really what they're saying. Upon investigation, we confirm CatDany's work was paid in full according to our agreements. Yes, I know that, but like, weren't the agreements like, don't use the, like the clear indication with this is that a person at the same position shouldn't be getting paid like 40% less than their coworkers. You know, assuming that there's not, or like 40% less than the next lowest person. So it was never a notion of, at least in her circumstance, and this is kind of, why not? I think that really, if you're doing the same job, you should probably be paid the same amount. I think that in general that's true. Now, obviously, there's a lot of circumstantial things like sales and things like this where you have large commissions, etc. But with this, I don't think that was really the case. And I think that if you're paying one person $40,000, the other person $70,000, and that's the next lowest, I feel like that's very, very low. And it probably was manipulative in certain ways. Yeah, she should have worked 2 full-time jobs, exactly. Well, if she was 40% less good at her job, if she was 40% less good at her job and she was a director and manager on leading teams, then they probably should have fired her and got somebody else. I'm going to be honest.
Out the rest of the year to make sure that they have a better workplace for anyone who works there. Yeah. And then there was also some apologies from the creators who were involved in the bullying of CatDany or the bad workplace overall. And people that you probably know, people like Gavin Freed.
I think it's always a lot better to keep apologies really short. Because like every extra sentence that you do with an apology, think of it as like you're making a target and you're making the target bigger and bigger and bigger. With every sentence, the target becomes bigger. Whenever I have never done a twit longer for an apology for anything or anything like that. If I make a mistake, I said, yeah, I fucked up. I was being an asshole. It is what it is. My bad. I'll try to do better. That's it. Take it or leave it.
Jones
yeah,
and Jeff, who went private, so you can't really show it, but there was an apology that you guys can all take a look at. I think the biggest takeaway that I have for you,
I find it also to be very kind of annoying whenever a person who was involved in the bullying of another person then goes on private because of what I am assuming to be bullying online. No. Now you're going to go private. I wish they could have gone private at their work. Maybe if they could, they wouldn't be putting up the twit longer.
Is one, this always backs up my point, to root for the worker, never the workplace. Especially when the workplace is...
I don't agree with that. I think that it's important to root for the truth and to root for who's right in a situation. I don't really agree on categorically always defaulting to the worker being right and the workplace being wrong. I think that's just as wrong-headed as the opposite. And I think that in both cases, I think a really good example of this, actually that Ludwig covered this too and talked about on Twitter, was the Bayonetta thing. Is that the voice actress for Bayonetta, you know, the way that she represented the facts was misleading. And it was misleading in a way that made the company that paid her look very bad. And because people automatically, she lied. I think that it was more that she lied by omission. But I don't know all the facts about this, so don't quote me on that. But what I do know is that she did misrepresent things. One way or another, things were misrepresented. And whenever that happened, Ludwig and a lot of other people took her side. Now, I would have too, I just didn't get around to it. So although I did not make this mistake, I would have. So I don't want to try to act like I'm above them. I agreed with them. I liked a lot of their tweets whenever they did this because I, too, was like, oh, well, fuck these guys, right? Because I thought she was telling the truth. But it's always very important to hear both sides because there are cases of people that are trying to go out of this, you know, to get some sort of attention, clout, or something like that. And that's why it's important to look at the actual evidence and to not just blindly take sides. And unfortunately, we had to learn that lesson recently with the Bayonetta thing. So it sucks whenever people do that because it takes somebody like Ludwig or like myself, which, you know, I think that he and I both feel that we are trying to do a good thing, and it misuses, you know, that good intention. It sucks.
gets so big, even here at Mogul Moves, all right? If you
Yeah.
ever see a tweet from Aiden saying, hey, Mogul Moves working me to the bone, take Aiden's side, not my side, even if you like me a lot.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's never...
Somebody, there's a very intelligent person in chat. I'm sorry, I'm going to fucking do it. Somebody said, except whenever you're Amarath, then we believe you. I guarantee you, if that voice actress had a phone call recorded of her boss at that company yelling at her the same way that Amarath's husband yelled at her, nobody would give a fuck if some of the facts were wrong. I understand that you're upset that a girl told her story, and now you think like, oh, every single time the girls are lying. Not every girl is Amber Heard, okay? Now, not every guy is Chris Brown either. But listen to the fucking facts and think for yourself, and stop letting your biases do the thinking for you. But many are. Actually, that's factually incorrect. The vast majority, over 90% of accusations are not proven false. So the idea that the majority, a lot of them, no, this is not true at all. I think that if you want to be on the safe side of things, you should believe accusations. Yeah, this is just a factual number. How the fuck can you get it so wrong? Well, it's simple. How do you prove a negative? Well, it's very simple to prove a negative in these cases. You saw it with the Johnny Depp trial. They proved a negative right there. There's many ways to do that. It's a stretch. No, it's just statistics. Like, I know that everybody loves numbers until they disagree with them. But these are what the numbers are.
Bad to repeat this sentiment.
Don't believe anything it does for proof? Well, no, Jesus Christ. I think that... I think it's okay to believe something without proof, but it's bad to act on it. Does that make sense? So, like, it's okay to take what somebody is saying and be like, wow, this is bad. You know, we should take this accusation seriously, without saying, let's get out the pitchforks and let's get out the fucking cross and we're going to nail them up right now. You see what I'm saying? So, again, and also, by the way, proof was her getting screamed at over the phone. And also the leaked text messages. I mean, let's be honest. The Bayonetta thing did not have that. So I think this is just another false equivalence because you probably have some level of resentment towards Amarath and you're trying to bring this horse into the race. Stop it. They're not the same.
The people that you watch online, that even if they raised you, even if you grew up on them, even if they were a father figure to you,
yes,
are not people that you actually know. You only know them through the lens that they are available to be seen in. Like me.
Yes, true.
Through these mogul mails.
Except me, by the way. I'm your real friend.
Ludwig, you have such great takes. How are they so balanced? But yet observant of both sides. To which I would reply, I'm the GOAT. But the reality is, I only give you the takes that I think are good. And I only upload the ones that I think were the most eloquent.
See, I don't do that. And that's one of my problems. Is that whenever I have an opinion and everybody hates the opinion that I have, and they're like, Asmon, please stop saying this. We hate this opinion. I said, really? Where's the fucking megaphone? We're going to make another video about it right now. Yeah, this is one of my features. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have no problem sharing unpopular opinions, probably to a fault.
There are a bunch of drafts that are either misspoken or maybe just bad takes altogether that I've just never uploaded and you'll never see. And maybe if we had a conversation, there'd be more of a back and forth and you'd see a lot of the flaws that I have. But why would I try to express those flaws to a million people?
Yeah, it's always going to get lost in translation, and people are going to think that you're wrong. And also, like, there are times whenever, like, for example, if Ludwig had made the video about Bayonetta, I think that maybe she did, I don't remember exactly the voice actress, you know, people could go back and look at that and be like, oh, wow, you were fucking wrong. But the reality is that sometimes whenever you're presented with evidence, things look one way, and then more evidence emerges, and then things look another way. And I don't think that's flip-flopping, that's doing the opposite, that's being consistent by making your judgments based off of evidence.
When I myself am not confident on them. Right? I'm only going to upload things that I'm actually confident on when I talk about and that I feel like I have a level-headed take on.
I don't.
So anyway, just a fresh reminder that the people that you watch online aren't people that you super know, and that they can disappoint you like anyone else in your life, like even your family can. But glad Rooster Teeth is making changes. Hopefully they're very serious about it. And to all the people who worked at Rooster Teeth.
Absolutely. I mean, like, you got to pay people for the work they do. You can't treat people like shit. And, I mean, that's really all there is to it. I mean, if you do something like that, you treat somebody badly, they will get you back. It might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. But in a year, 3 years, 5 years, they'll get you.
A shit time. I am sorry for that. Anyway, that's all for Mogul Mail. Thought I'd give you a little update. Hopefully I didn't shatter your childhood dreams. And see you later. Goodbye. Have a good rest of your day. See you later. Goodbye. Goodbye now. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. Like, again, a lot of people do, you know, they're not going to upload information or things that make them look bad. Whenever you have an opinion, there are sometimes whenever I have an opinion about things that kind of goes against the norm, and I have no problem uploading that and then, you know, farming all of the hate from it. It's always unpleasant when these kinds of things happen, whenever people get really mad at you and they're talking a bunch of shit about you, etc. But sometimes you just have to take it on the chin and accept that there are people who just disagree with you, and you have to have your opinions, and that's all there is to it. Lud's a good guy. Yeah, I think he's in general a good guy. I like him, and that's why we watch a lot of his videos. If you guys want to watch this one and give it a like and everything like that, make sure to do that. I'm going to link it for you guys right now.